Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Your love is lifting me up. Within my heart is your presence and glory. We live through your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Of my heart, I want to see you. I want to see you. Your love is lifting me up. Within my heart is your presence and glory. We live through your power and love as we sing, holy, 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 holy. I want to see you. I want to see you. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to see you.
Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday Unity of Beaverton service. I am so glad that you are all here and joining us as we celebrate once again within the confines of our own homes, Unity's principles. So today is the 5th of July, and so I will read from today's daily word, as we always do when we first gather. Today's word is comfort. Experiences that move me out of my comfort zone are part of my life. The first day at a new school, starting or leaving a job, a new phase in a relationship, retiring from a career, the passing of a loved one, any change can evoke discomfort, even grief. I grieve when I think of change as loss. Loss of security, loss of place in my community, or loss of love. The Christ, the divine presence of life, love and wisdom within me is my constant source of comfort through all of life's changes. I find assurance that although its physical expressions may change, life can never end. I know oneness and love with all who have been dear to me. Recognizing my divine nature, I know there is no loss, change, or circumstance that can limit me, and I am comforted. You will increase my honor and comfort me once again. And that's from Psalms 71:21. So this message today is really in keeping also with our topic, which is free at last. The theme for this month is untethered spirituality. I love the way that sounds. Untethered means not tied down. It is absolutely free to move and to expand and to know itself as God. That is what is within each and every one of us, is that ability to recognize ourselves as free. And we can choose this comfort. We can choose this as a source of comfort for ourselves. It is only in knowing and accepting that Christ consciousness that exists for me right here in the middle of my chest. Maybe for you, it's in your middle eye or right at your crown chakra, wherever it is in your body. It is a wonderful thing to be able to find that place in you that feels that light, that feels that sense of love and power, and to keep your focus on that as you go through whatever the motions of your day are, in order to come to know that our comfort is never out of reach, never out of reach. So that when we are in pain, when we are in discomfort from something that has happened in our world, whether it's personal and up close or distant and still happening and still painful to watch, maybe as painful as something that is up close and personal for us. But we can choose to be comforted first by leaning in, as Brene Brown says, leaning in to whatever that discomfort is, and then accepting it, and then to begin to go to that source of life in us, that ability to believe that God moves and has its being by means of you. And that discomfort will be eclipsed by that true notion, because when we recognize that oneness with God, when we recognize that God has its being by means of us, by means of you, and by means of me, then whatever the disturbance is in my life, I am not hopeless. And that's huge. Just beginning at that place of knowing I am not hopeless. I am powerful in my ability to walk through whatever the situation is and walk into a brighter, more beautiful day because I create it. Because I create it. And so, with this idea of freedom, what we need to come to know is I create it for myself and for the world around me. I not only must see myself as free, but I must recognize that for all of life. for everyone in life, now and in the past and in the future. That freedom is bestowed upon us by our birthright, by our connection with the divine. We need not be afraid. It's always present. Being one with God, this consciousness of freedom is something that we need to claim. When we unite with that consciousness that is within us, there can be, alongside that discomfort, that feeling of grief or loss or sadness, there can be a total recognition that we're not alone and that this too shall pass, that we can lean in to whatever it is, whatever the situation is. And once we do, from there, we can look beyond it. We can't we can't begin to look beyond the source of our discomfort unless we have accepted it as part of our good. Now that's not an easy task, I know. We've all been there. We've all shared in those experiences where it is unfathomable that what I am going through is part of my good, but it is. And once we understand that, it makes the pain and the sadness and the sense of loss um, at least known to us as being temporary, if not uplifted, if not just a little bit lessened. At least we know it is temporary because Christ is always there. And we are joining in with that idea of oneness in life, of the allness of life. And so that leads me, to this topic, to the freedom in life. That life itself is meant to be free, that you are in an untethered soul. Your soul is not looking for anything to set it free. It is now and always has been free. So the first thing that is required of us in this sense of freedom is knowing that we are free. In this time, in this place, it's those of us who are white we have always known of our freedom. We have always known, and many people come in terrible poverty, and they immediately feel like there is an area in which they're not free, that other people have choices that they can make, that those others can make, and they themselves cannot make because they are fenced in by this poverty that surrounds them. Freedom knows no boundaries. It has no boundaries because it is not given to us by others, but recognized by ourselves, in ourselves. Martin Luther King said, "Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring." To know that it can ring means that you have to know that it's there. And it seems to me that there is this push-pull where it comes to freedom, that I can only know of my freedom when I see all others as free as well. And I can only see others as free if I have that within myself. So those who are believing that people of color or, are the Black community are not free, it is in their minds as well as in the minds of the people who are not feeling free. We, each of us, has to be able to share that notion, to absolutely know in the core of our being, in our Christ consciousness, from our Christ consciousness, that all are free. And then it is up to us to begin to demonstrate that in the world, to be able to reveal to others of their freedom, to walk with them in freedom marches, to walk with them in anything that helps to reveal their freedom, because it is yours also that you are revealing. There is nowhere where there is something that is whole and real and true. Now, those I'm using all capital letter words, whole with a capital W, real with a capital R, and true with a capital T. That those things are innate. They're innate. And when we misuse our power, typically out of fear, right? Fear and anger is what leads us to taking somebody else's power away. It leads us to utilizing our power out there in ways that harm others. Anything that we do that takes away from somebody else is not of Christ consciousness. It is not of God. It is not of that innate freedom that is in you. If you feel that you need to have power over, and you fill in the blank, you fill in the blank, power over anything, then you're not feeling free. That word is just a word, and you don't have it. So this is the time that we really need to step into the freedom that exists within life. We need to look and see it all around us, in nature, in the cosmos, in everything that exists. There is a freedom to express, and we must acknowledge that and bless it, and recognize how beautiful that is. Viktor Frankl, when he wrote his book about meaning, man's meaning, man's search for meaning, and the meaning that he discovered was his ability to choose. That he always had an ability to choose, that you could take everything else away from him, and it was taken from him. He had apparently what appeared to be no freedom whatsoever, and yet inside he knew he was free to choose. And he looked around, and in his book that he wrote in 1946, he related how he was aware that people who didn't have and didn't recognize their ability to choose, that they died. Those were the people that were the first to go. And people who felt that victimhood. Now, any one of us can look at that situation and say, well, how could you not? How could you not? And certainly he was, an amazing man to be able to practice this in his situation, that always choosing what and how to hear, to choose whether or not to blame the guards, to choose whether or not to be a victim, or to recognize that at some level he was always at choice. That was his freedom. And writing about that and revealing that to the world was his purpose. And so what he stated is that in order to be free, excuse me, and to live fully, we must have a purpose. We must have a reason for being in this world, or it will never be what we hope it could be. It can't be if we don't make use of who we are. We must make use of that God consciousness, of peace and harmony. And that's not just when we're sitting in a room by ourselves. We must make use of all of those characteristics, all of those powers in the difficult times, in the times where that seems impossible. That's when it matters, because that's when we see the reality of those powers, of those notions. When you are tired and ready to give up and just feel like there is no, what does it matter? What does it matter? And you're just ready to give up. When you can find your strength, and you can find that strength that resides in you and is a part of your soul being, and you can utilize that strength to re-energize yourself, you have a chance to move forward. You have a chance to once again step into the sunlight, which is where, we want to live all the time, don't we? I would just as soon be Pollyanna. It's my nature is to be Pollyanna. But that doesn't always serve me, because what happens when things get a little negative, I can become devastated. And that's not recognizing who and what I am. It's not recognizing my ability to choose. And it's not recognizing my ability to be free, to choose. Freedom and the lack of it can be seen in so many circumstances. Have you ever felt locked into a job where you hated the job and felt you could not leave? You're not free. Have you ever felt in a relationship and you knew that this relationship was not healthy, not for you, not for your partner, not for anybody, but you just couldn't see a way out? It was impossible. So you put on your marching boots and, just stuck to it with a heart that was not really fully there. It was, had decided, well, this is it. This is what I must do. You're free. And freedom doesn't mean that you leave, whether the relationship or the job. It means you make a choice. I choose to stay. I choose to become the best I can be. Or I choose to leave and start this over, start me in this way that I now realize has choices and can make changes in my world without somebody else's permission, without it looking like an easy road, an easy path. It is making that decision and the recognition of your ability and your freedom that allows you to change your life by changing your insides. So the thing that we need to know is that changing our view on freedom even for us, requires us changing it on the inside. We can say that the look out there, what the appearances are, that people aren't free. We can say that. We can acknowledge in this world of duality, we can acknowledge that people don't look to be free. But the truth is, in their being, they are free. And that's what we can know for them. Not in any way that says, those appearances aren't real and what's the matter with you? Get up and march, you're free. Don't you know that? No. That freedom must be revealed through them, and that has to begin by being revealed through you. Take it on as your position to know freedom, regardless of appearances. Don't deny the appearances. They're real. They're very real for people who are experiencing them. But we can know different. And truly, it must be easier for us to know different. We have known it, most of us, our whole lives. And we have been through situations where we have stepped out and said, I'm leaving this. I'm free of that thinking. I'm free of those beliefs. So I hope you join me. I hope you join me in this, in these beliefs, in this understanding, in going to your Christ conscious self, that place within you. For me, it is, let me just move the camera a little. It's right here. It's right here. It is where I actually put my attention when I'm wanting to access my Christ consciousness. You can put it here at your crown chakra or right here in your third eye, anywhere in your body that you feel like that sacredness lives. And you can enlarge it by your awareness of it, by keeping your awareness on it, so that your whole being is that Christ consciousness. And in that place, all the changes that you can make become real with a capital R, and true with a capital T, and whole with a capital W. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Namaste.